first step is mixing your putty into an even mix, and then transforming the mix into a sausage and adapting it into the incisal edges of the anterior teeth. Usually, you will adapt it to the 6 anterior teeth, and you'll probably extend it to a premolar, and then you will transform the geometry of the putty into something like a curved rectangle.
So they want more of the same. And we all know people who have lots of misfortune.
Here I am testing the setting of the putty. My nail leaves an impression, and that's telling me that the material is not set. When your nail doesn't leave any impression, that means that the material is set and you can start removing it. Here we are checking the inside of the putty. Then we're gonna cut the putty at the center of the tooth that we are planning to prepare. In this example, we are cutting at the region of number 8 in the center. Here we had a little bit of an oblique cut on the lingual, so I cut a little bit more to center the lingual portion of the putty, and then we check the adaptation of the putty on the typodont. We start by making depth grooves on the facial. Here I am using a rounded shoulder burr, and I'm going half the depth of this burr, and then we connect the groove to do a tentative facial reduction. I then go to the lingual and I make 3 to 4 grooves on the lingual with the same burr, and then I connect them to obtain a lingual axial wall here. We're gonna check from the occlusal here and make sure that the facial and lingual walls are drawing by closing one eye and looking from the occlusal through a mirror. Here, using a needle burr, I am gonna start with opening the contact. I start by going from the facial and creating a groove on the distal proximal wall in this example, and I start going deeper from the facial. And while I'm going deeper, I'm gonna leave a thin wall between the prepared tooth and the adjacent tooth. I'm gonna go from the same fashion on the lingual as well. So that way I am thinning the proximal wall from the facial and the lingual. And then I start going from the lingual to facial and facial to lingual. And the contact opening starts to get deeper and deeper. Here you can see the thin shell that remained between the adjacent tooth and the prepared tooth. And here it was broken with the hand instrument. And then with the same needle burr, you will refine your finish line at the interproximal region. Notice that we made some taper also while we were opening the contact. We will do the same process in the mesial wall as well, going from the facial and the lingual, then thinning the proximal wall, leaving a thin shell between the prepared tooth and the adjacent tooth until both openings meet in the center. Here we are checking with the putty, and we see we have minimal reduction on the facial, and we don't have any incisal reduction or lingual reduction. So we're gonna start with the tentative incisal reduction. I made 3 grooves here and I connected them. Then I rounded the mesial and distal angles on the incisal edges here, and we also reduced more on the facial as well. Here I am using the burr number 6 on your fixed cross burrs kit, and I'm refining the finish line and the preparation, and I'm adding more reduction as well. Using a small chamfer burr, I'm gonna refine my margins on the mesial and the distal, and I'm gonna drop the finish line so it follows the gingival contour of the typodont. We will then start with the lingual reduction using an American football burr, and we start by reducing the lingual surface as needed. As you see here, we are using a large mirror to enable the camera to capture the process of reducing the lingual wall. We will also refine the lingual axial wall with the same burr, number 6 burr in your fixed pros kit, and we will also refine the facial surface and the proximal surface. Now notice that I do not use the slow speed for this purpose. I just slowed down the handpiece's RPM to 100 thousandths. Then we check the reduction, and looks like we have adequate facial reduction here and almost adequate incisal reduction, but we still needed more lingual reduction. Here the facial reduction is good. So we continued and we reduced more on the lingual surface. And we also did a little bit of additional reduction on the lingual axial wall, and we tapered that wall slightly to achieve adequate reduction in the cingulum area. Here we obtain adequate reduction on the lingual, although the camera angle does not capture it properly, but we have adequate reduction. Here we just had to round the axial lingual line angles. Then we're gonna pass a manual instrument and around the finish line, and make sure we do not have any J margins remaining on the finish line. Here we are inspecting the preparation. Notice that you cannot do this outside the mouth in the exam. The typodont must remain inside the mannequin throughout the entire exam. Here we applied Vaseline, we air thinned it, then we injected the integrity into the putty. Then we placed the putty on the mannequin, on the typodont, and gently we held the putty in place until the material set. We removed the putty and the provisional came out. We waited until it sat a little bit, then we removed the provisional. Then we let it sit for another 1 or 2 minutes until the material hardened. Then we started trimming the excess material from the interproximal areas. Those interproximal areas usually are overextended and they would contain overhangs. Here we are blowing the intaglio of the crown after each adjustment to prevent the debris from becoming stuck inside the intaglio surface. We're adjusting more of the excess material here. And we check the fit and we check the margins, and so far everything looks good except the mesial lingual embrasure. Here we are cleaning the flash from the teeth. Make sure you do this step before you submit your typodont. The adjacent teeth must be cleaned from visible flash and debris. If you're having a difficulty removing the provisional, place gauze and wrap it around the provisional, and with a curved hemostat, gently pull the provisional up, and here it came out. And now we are adjusting the mesiolingual embrasure area, the overextension there. And then we're going to use the yellow Softlex to do the facial, and then we're going to place the provisional back on the tooth, and we will polish the facial surface here and the lingual surface. And once you finish this step, you are done. You will then take out your typodont, clean it up, and dry it very well from dust and debris, and you will be ready to submit your exam.